Hello and welcome to another technical takedown the hard way. In today's video we're going to be discussing fatigue. Guys, I want you to take a look at this. Take a look at this video. This is a video that I posted a couple of days ago. In fact, it was the last video that I posted on one of the two channels, one of the two overlanding channels. I can't tell you off the top of my head, but yeah, look at me. I'm half asleep. It's absolutely wild. But look at this video. So, as you can see on this video, I'm a lot more energetic. I'm a lot more uppity, but my back's straight. I'm more focused. I'm more composed. These videos were filmed literally 20 minutes apart. It's absolutely wild to see the drop off in energy levels. It's crazy to see that here I am, I'm up, I'm buzzing, I'm ready to do this video, and then literally I fell off the wall. I fell off the wall. I could feel my energy levels just go like this, boom. And guys, this is what I want to talk about today, because this drop off in energy levels could be really dangerous, of course, when driving around when you're doing overlanding. It's critical. I think there's a lot of people who could do 4 hours a day. 4 hours a day driving is not that bad when you're doing it for 3 days, for 4 days, for 5 days. But when you're doing it for 20 days, 30 days, 2 months, 5 months, it can get not just tedious, but it can get monotonous. And if it gets monotonous, it could start getting boring. And that's what we don't want. We don't want to be on this journey and have us fall asleep at the wheel. Not going to be easy to do that, I've got to admit, of course. There's going to be a lot of excitement, all right? And I think that's what happened in the video that you just saw. What you saw was me get onto the video and start talking and start getting energetic. I wasn't overtly energetic, but you could see that I was into it, right? And then in the next video, you see me, I'm basically falling asleep. And I think it's because I had a coffee just before the first video. And it was one of those coffees that you have, like, the Nespresso coffees that you stick inside and the machine does everything for you. And I just don't think that those coffees are powerful enough. I'm not a big fan of those coffees, if I need to be honest with you. I would prefer to have powdered, good quality coffee. I had one, through a machine that actually takes the beans and crushes them all up and pushes it. Man, I was shaking. I had so much caffeine inside me. I could feel it. It was crazy. It really was. I need to think about how I'm going to be able to endure this drive, right? Endurance is critical, of course, because it's a long-term overlanding adventure. It's not something where I can just think, oh, well, I'll be able to put up with it. Why not? I have done long journeys before. I think the longest journey that I've done was about 700 miles in one go. And that was really not good. Initially, I planned, because I went with my son and my nephew, we planned to drive from Scotland down to the south of Italy. Okay, it's about 1,000 miles altogether, but I picked up my son in Birmingham in the Midlands, so it's 200 miles to the Eurotunnel. We took the Eurotunnel over and then we drove straight down to Italy. Actually, I would even say that it was further. It was probably more like 1,000 miles altogether. So when I got to Luxembourg, we filled up in Luxembourg because it's really cheap. I don't know if you know this, but fuel in Luxembourg is dirt cheap. We fueled up in Luxembourg, carried on going, and we were switching drivers. And I remember we were driving all day, actually. We were driving all day. We watched the sun go down and come up. it was crazy. We were supposed to stop off in Geneva actually and take a break there, but my daughter was flying in from another country. She was flying in down into southern Italy, you know, and if we was to have stayed in the hotel, we would have been too late. So and that wasn't my fault. It was my son's fault actually, because he had a last minute change of plans. So had to just grin and bear it and just push ourselves. By the time we got to the eastern coast of Italy, northeastern coast of Italy, we got through Milan and started making our way down the eastern coast of Italy. I felt so tired. It was incredible, and I was fighting it with every, part of my body, which was really dangerous because I had my son in the car with me. My son and my nephew had already passed out. So I had to continue going myself. I put my head down. I had to keep going. I carried on going. And I was doing everything to stay away. I had the window open. I had it was important that I did everything. Eventually, I got to the house, the Airbnb, dropped my son off, my nephew off. They went straight into bed. They went straight to sleep. I jumped in the car again. Had to drive to the airport, picked up my daughter, drove back. It was just a very long, protracted situation that I'll never do again. I will never do again. I will never drive I'd say 7, but I think it was it was easily 1,000 kilometers. Easily 1,000 kilometers. But I would say that it was probably even closer to 1,000 miles. I'll never do that in one go again. It was dangerous. It was irresponsible. And really, I don't like it when people. I know he's my son. Bless his soul. But really, he should have thought smart about the way he was going to do this, and he should have been a bit more attentive. But when you have 16-year-olds, that's the way they are sometimes. So anyway, things were great. Ended up being a reasonable holiday. Actually, it turned out to be a really nice holiday. My son and my nephew flew back. I had to drive back by myself. My daughter flew out again. Horrible. Really, I was so fatigued, so tired trying to get to the ferry. I ended up missing my ferry and they ended up cancelling it. I had to get another ferry. Boy, oh boy, boy. I've been in these situations where I fell asleep at the wheel. And guys, that is one thing that I absolutely cannot have. So how are we going to sidestep this? Well, we're going to make sure we manage the amount of hours we stay on the road, okay? This is part of the reason why if I drive with my wife, it's going to be better if we share the driving, okay? It's not only going to make things easier for both of us, right? Because I'm going to be able to concentrate for 2 hours and she's going to be able to concentrate for 2 hours a day, I think that it will make the journey overall much better because we'll be able to do things and take rests, of course. We're going to be taking regular breaks, of course. If I've got the kids in the car, I've got the baby in the car. If we have the baby in the car, clearly the baby's only allowed to be in the seat for a certain period of time, so we have to take the baby out anyway, which means regular breaks are essential, really, on our journey. Let me think. Fatigue is something which will lower our being fatigued will lower our concentration levels, right? It essentially makes driving dangerous, which is the reason why it is fundamentally important for us to make sure that we are not tired whilst we are driving. I'd say critical. So making sure we do that, making sure we have good coffee. We need to have good coffee making facilities in the car. It is crucial for us to have good coffee making facilities in the car. I have been taking a look at a few things. What's the other one? What's the other one where you stick it on at the bottom and you turn it? I'm not going to be carrying that because it's worthless for us, really. On a long-term adventure travel, it's just, we're not going to be able to refill, burners like that, disposable canisters as well. In the African environment, the pristine African environment, and then having to carry those canisters afterwards, no, it's too messy. We need something which is going to give us consistent, good tasting coffee. We could get that, of course, on the African continent, but yeah, we're going to bring some with us, and we're going to be able to have some on the go as well, because you're going to be able to buy high quality powdered coffee. And I'm not talking about freeze dried rubbish. I'm talking about high quality, which will, of course, boost morale. It will keep us feeling good. We're also not going to eat heavy before we drive. We're going to eat heavy afterwards. I think this also helps with keeping us alive, keeping us ready, keeping us focused on the road ahead. And I think we also need to concentrate. We're obviously going to be concentrating on our children. I think communicating. This is one thing my friend used to do in the army, because they used to have to go back to the barracks at a certain period of time on the night, right? You cannot be late. And one of the things they used to do is they used to get one car, they used to pick up 4 people in the car, and they used to drive down to the army barracks. Now, it's easy to fall asleep at the wheel, okay, because there's so many, because you're driving in the middle of the night and you're trying to get back to your army barracks before a certain period of time. So what they used to do is no one used to sleep in the car, or they used to have one person who used to sleep in the car, and when that person fell asleep, everybody else had to stay awake no matter what, because when you have one person sleeping in the car, it makes you feel tired. When you're driving, you see somebody else sleeping in the car, it makes you feel tired. So it's important that we have at least one of us that, if we're going to be driving like this, we're always going to be awake, right? The kids can sleep, but we need to be awake. It's really important, as adults anyway. If I'm driving by myself, then I don't know. I don't know. I feel differently when I'm driving by myself. I feel more focused anyway, because I don't have to worry about any kids. I don't have to worry about my wife. And I don't have to think about whether they are feeling good. I could just focus all my energy on myself, So I think that is how we're going to combat fatigue. And of course, also making sure that the journey is long. The journey is long, but we take our time. We pace ourselves correctly in a way in which we don't feel fatigued anyway, right? So those are the critical important factors to how we are going to subvert fatigue, how we're going to keep ourselves fresh. I'm going to have a shower with me. You've got to remember that as well. I'm going to be able to take a nice cold shower if I feel really bad. Stop on the side of the road, take a shower, keep going. Simples. So anyway, guys, that is what I'm going to do to subvert fatigue. I hope that information gets to you well. And yeah, that's it from me for today. I'll see you in the next time. See you later.